Cycle 95, this is the last 5 cycles of the colony. Last 5 cycles of Demolior. Welcome back to Prehistoric Max Difficulty Achievement Run. This is gonna be a special episode. We will observe the progress of Colony in the final moments of Demolior, and meanwhile, talk about different aspects of oxygen not included. So, I got a chain reaction here. Meep has made a mess because the lavatory is unavailable, which is because the water sieve has shut down, which is because the power wire was broken, which is because I was running 2 oil refinery on the same power grid. If you have watched all the episodes so far, you probably won't be surprised by me saying all this nonchalantly. I don't have any builds that are enclosed that requires duplicants to break in order to fix the wires, such as infinite storages or closed electrolyzers, so temporary broken wire isn't really an issue. If I do have such kind of builds, I would definitely prioritize securing them with conductive wire or make a new independent power grid. Maybe I could have a larger buffer with longer pipes or even with the liquid reservoir inside the loop. 5 tons of buffer will sure hold for 100 cycles. But anyway, I could fix the wire and the bathroom loop after Demolior is taken care of. I guess I'm in the minority here, with so much wild and natural builds instead of compact and engineered ones. They don't look that good, but they are usually much less fragile and sometimes even more efficient. For example, I often use open naked electrolyzers and just collect the hydrogen on a big ceiling. They actually generate much more extra power than usual compact SPOM, since they do not require oxygen pumps, and oxygen pumps are the most power demanding building in the entire SPOM design. Do any of you play like this? Maybe share your style with us in the comments. Carnivore in Relica was really interesting. It doesn't require doing hatch ranch like in Terra, but exploring to hunt wild animals instead. If I recall correctly, Lums are even more powerful during prehistoric beta testing, and you could finish Carnivore with just eating 10 Lums. That was even easier than in the Frosty Planet pack, where you need to eat 11 Bamas to beat Carnivore. But just before release, its meat yield was nerfed, and now 12 Lums are needed. Dartles were also once very powerful, and I have seen starvation ranch designs that could feed the entire colony in very early game. That would make Carnivore way too easy though, and later Dartles was nerfed to give 1/8 of original meat amount. I would say both are pretty good balance updates. The morale of my duplicants is looking fine. It's quite nice that by planting the basic sweatcorn plant and processing in the smoker, we can get food with a quality of 2, which gives 4 morale to my duplicants. I just need to make 20 more blast shots. It's about at this point that I am confident I've got this. And there's another good news. We keep saying Demolior coming in 100 cycles, but it actually comes 100 cycles after cycle 1, so the real deadline is cycle 101. Here's even another pleasant surprise. The Easy Living achievement has just been completed without any effort. It requires 5 consecutive cycles of auto sweepers completing more delivery than duplicants. It's not one of the hardest achievements, but I do occasionally hear some players having problems with it and have to restrict their duplicants from delivering just to solve this. We don't need to make this achievement such a big deal though. I have an easy build to auto-complete Easy Living presented in my achievement guide video if you might be interested. For this colony, the blast shot ingredients, delivery to teleporter, and to the meteor blaster all have auto sweeper involved by now. No wonder it auto-completed at this stage. Generally speaking, the prehistoric pack planets are comfortable to start with, combining familiar elements like algae and paku with new lovely critters like lums and dartles. The Demolior threat might sound stressful, but on normal difficulty, it hits only at cycle 200. If you are somewhat experienced and focused on blast shot production, after food and oxygen is covered, blasting it on normal difficulty should be easy, with a lot of time to spare. Out of the 3 possible ways to make blast shots, slime is the easiest, but it requires rolling slime mold trait on world generation. It's also the route I took in my Cycle 28 Demolior blasting speedrun. If you would like to take a look, petroleum is my favorite, but it requires digging to the bottom or using teleporter. I guess most players don't feel like using teleporters early on? Seacomb is probably still the most popular choice, but it's really conflicting with achievement runs. The oil refinery will be disabled when the surrounding pressure exceeds 5 kg per tile. There's quite a few ways to deal with this, but it's just 10 more blast shots I need to make, or 400 seconds of refinery operation needed. I would just dig out a few more tiles so the pressure could spread out for now. For a moment, I actually thought about putting a pump and recycling the natural gas into generator to power the refinery and the blast shot maker. I almost put this thought into action, but suddenly I realized natural gas generators will fail the super sustainable achievement. I can't imagine how mad I would be if I failed to run this way after being so close to blasting Demolior. Let's talk about the future. After Demolior is dealt with, super sustainable could be finished passively with our current power generation and maybe with the addition of hydrogen from electrolyzing. Our base really have very low power consumption other than making blast shots. I would estimate one single spawn would be close to powering the entire base. The first achievement I will focus on is likely to be job suitability because it requires all duplicants to work while being in an Atmos suit for 10 consecutive cycles. The less duplicant you have when doing this, the easier this achievement would be. I am often puzzled why a lot of YouTubers choose to do this as the last or final achievements when they got 20 or even 50 duplicants. Maybe they just want to have a big grid of Atmos suit docs so they have a splendid screenshot to use as thumbnails? There are just 2 more blast shots I need to make. I just have to oversee a bit to make sure nothing goes wrong, and the rest of the mission would be to deliver the shots to the meteor blaster. Beyond job suitability, a lot of achievements are associated with rockets or space travel. The 2 most hardest achievements known to players are GMO AOK and Mine the Gap. GMO AOK requires mutating most base game and spaced out DLC plants, so that means we need to collect those plants in the first place, grow them, and provide enough radiation to mutate them. But it isn't really as tedious as you think. As I mentioned in my achievement guide, the key is to use radiation lamps as the radiation source. They are very suited for mutating plants. Radiation lamps are very easily portable, so you could bring the uranium ore to the local biome for each plant, or even to outer space planets. Set up the radiation lamp there, and mutate each plant in place. Almost every plant could be mutated in less than 50 cycles, and they can be done in parallel. Give the lamps a chance, and they will give you a much easier life. Just one last blast shot pending. I know it's gonna happen, but I still can't help checking why Ruby isn't working right now. Well, it's currently on downtime. Anyway, since all the jobs in this planet are done, I would like to send one dude back to home to support the delivery. It will be Rowan, since the auto sweeper construction on the surface is still pending. Auto sweeper on surface is finally completed and delivering everything almost instantly at cycle 98. The idle icon at Blast Shot Maker also just confirmed all the production is finished. What could go wrong? Probably nothing as long as the path to surface isn't blocked and the power supply is stable. At this stage, well, I guess the dupes here deserve a second lavatory. A really funny build order, I would say. Looks like a new lavatory doesn't fit really well here. I'll build it a bit to the left instead. Other than being a threat, there's actually a lot of good things that the Demolior would bring to us. The new metal iridium, which is a material that is even better than steel, and many other common useful resources would be available at the space fields for us to mine once the Demolior is blasted. For achievement runs specifically, we have another great news. Remember we mentioned Mine the Gap in the list of hardest achievements? It requires mining 1,000 tons of resource from space, which requires at least 50 mining trips. Mining requires some high-level research, and also requires diamonds to operate. But the real tedious part is, mining is a real time-consuming process, and also demanding a proper rocket interior to support the pilot during mining. You could set up full automated rockets on returning trip and use the robopilot from Bionic's Booster DLC to launch without duplicant operation, but full automated rockets will deplete the field quickly, and you will have to manually find other fields to mine, or wait for the slow replenishing of the fields. But now, Demolior will generate 3 new space fields around where it is blasted. If we wait until Demolior gets really near to home planet to blast it, we will end up with 3 extra resource fields that are next to us. This might be a game changer for the most tedious achievement in my opinion. Meanwhile, the auto sweeper on the surface was broken due to overheating. That's not very surprising, since it's very close to vacuum on the surface due to the space exposure. With no medium to exchange heat, even the buildings with very little heat production will quickly overheat. Of course, it's not a big deal. With just one cycle to go, we can just deconstruct and build a new one. Although it's worth mentioning that repairing doesn't work, since doing so will retain the current hot temperature, and the auto sweeper will immediately start overheating again. With the auto sweeper rebuilt, there's really no mission left, except to embrace the destruction of Demolior. It's kind of funny to see so many blast shots crowding Demolior. The star map won't update the blast shot icons when on the background, so these 90 shots are now showing their icon in the same time. For some reason, there seems to be more than enough shots to blast Demolior, but anyway, we can finally celebrate! If you have already seen the celebration animation of blasting Demolior a few months ago, you might notice some difference, because some new animations are added later after the DLC release. I kind of want to check the progress of Super Sustainable, and it looks almost halfway done. The blast shot production line really consumed a lot of power. Now the progress of this achievement will slow down by a lot unless I intentionally waste power. This meteor thing is also new. It sort of looked like a celebration fireworks. A stereoscope is also rewarded to serve as a souvenir of blasting Demolior and saving the colony. I gotta disconnect the wires to the meteor blasters in case they continue to draw power though. And oh my, the meteors are now damaging my ladders. Damaged ladders still function normally, but they will generate repair errands, and the duplicants will go to repair them unless the auto repair is disabled. But without using mods, you would have to disable them one by one. Fortunately, these meteors don't show up until Demolior is dealt with, otherwise it would be so annoying. Now that we have beat the hardest part of this challenge series, I'm thinking about taking a break and work on a mid-game guide to show a nice build order on how to set up essential buildings, like the Aqua Tuner and Steam Turbine combo, SPOM, Atmos suits, Metal Refinery, with an actual colony. I'm also thinking about challenges like take 3 duplicants every print instead of 1, or starting in a geyserless mod planet and try to achieve a sustainable base. I wonder which of these might interest you, or maybe you love this achievement run series the most? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. See you next video!